my channel. This week I'm bringing you another Cook with G. But before we get started, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up so that way we can keep on growing. Now today we are cooking from Rebel Homemaker, written by Drew Barrymore with help from one of her reoccurring chefs on her current talk show. And this is a photo of both of them together, but I have a bunch of recipes in store. She actually wrote this during the pandemic, and on the back it said that she took a lot of the photos herself, actually maybe even all of them, and like, I don't know, it's just very fun. A lot of it is about her life and her journey with food, and if you are sitting here trying to be like, Drew Barrymore, I know her from something, she's famous, I can't figure it out. Most famous is E.T. You've probably seen E.T., or maybe you currently watch her talk show. But I was excited to see a cookbook that came out of the pandemic, so I picked this up from my local library and we're gonna try a few recipes out. So let's cook. All right, so the first recipe up today is a Brie and apple grilled cheese. Now I feel like this is something that I would kind of find at like a, I don't know, restaurant. I'm like, oh, that sounds good, apple and Brie. I love Brie, but I've never really made this myself at home. So I was excited when I saw it because she includes things like arugula and mustard, which I also was like, I don't know if I ever put arugula with mustard because to me they're both kind of like a little spicy, a little like have a bit of a punch to them. So I'm excited to see how they cut through the fat of Brie and see how it all comes together. But it's also one of the recipes actually that they mentioned on the back. So I assume that means it's a personal favorite in the book. The first step is to butter the bread. I don't know if I took my butter out. Oh, you know what? It's hot out, so I think I could just use my hands. I don't think I took my butter out soon enough, which also, I'm a bit of a butter snob. I use mainly Kerrygold. If you have not tried Kerrygold butter, it's pure Irish butter. It's delicious. I use unsalted when I'm cooking. Does it say unsalted? It says unsalted. I mainly keep unsalted around, but salted is like, I like it best if I'm just like having butter and bread. However, my hack is I will just add some flaky salt if I'm just having a slice of toast with some butter on it, and I only have unsalted butter. I'm gonna take our sourdough bread. This is also my sourdough of preference if I'm buying sourdough at the store and not like a farmer's market or something. Look at that, look at that. Oh, we've got a hole, we got some holes in here. Let's do, okay, these feel more promising for a potentially gooey sandwich. Still got one up here, but that's all right. All right, so let's put those down there. Okay, so slather one side of each slice of bread with half a tablespoon of butter. I'm also all about like leveling up foods I like. I love grilled cheese, and I'm using a cheese I don't typically gravitate towards when I'm thinking of a grilled cheese, so that's fun. And I also, I'm not really a green apple person, but I like apple pie or like, you know, tart apples in certain things. And I think in something like this where there's a lot of fatty components, it should hopefully bring that nice little like sour, acidic relief to kind of bring everything together. Place the bread slices butter slice down on a work surface. Okay, so this is the mustard that she told us to use. So she said to use Coleman's specifically. I feel like I've always seen it, but I've never actually used it before. Also, I am a mustard person too, so I think that also intrigued me. I just like don't think I would have thought to put mustard in a grilled cheese. And then on the opposite side, shingle the sliced the apple slices. That's pretty thin. I think I did pretty good there. So I'm assuming shingling means this. So, I mean, do we think it's like, well, shingles hang down. We're gonna just do our own thing and hope this is what she means. That feels like a roof. And now remove the rind from the Brie. So we don't need the rind, but we can eat it. Well, actually, I'm gonna have a little snack. Breading and flattening. Okay, I think I just want to like cover the apple slices. She says 2.5 ounces. Okay, this feels like more than enough. I'm just gonna call it right there. Now we've got our arugula, so we're gonna add that. So you just press to adhere, which is also genius. I love adding a lot of fresh greens to my sandwiches, and I feel like they fall out a lot of times. So this is really smart that you can just like push it into the Brie, and it should be a-okay. And then we close, so both sides are out, buttered sides are on the outside. Okay, so let's add some more butter into the pan. It says when the butter is bubbling, that is when we can go ahead and add our sandwich, and we're almost there. Oh, I hear it. And then it says to use a spatula to press down. Courage browning. You can do it! And we're here waiting for this for about 2 to 3 minutes. So while that cooks, I was just gonna say that while I was looking through the cookbook, I thought it was really cool because if you're a fan of Drew Barrymore, you can actually, really read the book. She kind of talks about her life during the pandemic. She talks about her garden and her journey with food and her love for cookbooks. And I just felt like it was a really personal approach to writing a cookbook because I don't think she had any intention to just change careers and become a chef. That wasn't her goal. Her goal was to just kind of share her life, but share it through food. Like she had a whole section of I think it was 20 of the best things that she had ever eaten. And I was reading through, one of them was a Joe's Slice, which is one of my favorite pizza places for a New York slice. And I don't know, I just felt like it was nice to kind of read through and have more of an emotional connection with food versus just being if you follow this recipe, you will get good results. Because as you know, part of Cook with G is learning about food and people and cultures. And I think she really hit the nail on the head that food is personal and it can have that emotional relationship, and everyone has a food related memory or something that makes them feel a certain way. And she kind of took that and decided to create a book about her and her food and make it in a way for you to literally consume it. But I think something's ready to be flipped. Oh, she looks good. Let's see if I can flip it. Oh, I'm ready to take it off the heat. So it says to take it and we're gonna move it to our cutting board and then we're gonna slice and serve with some mustard. So let's get this off of our heat. Give a little. Okay, let's get this onto a plate and then we can taste it. All right, here we go. I'm very excited about this. We got our apple, we got our arugula, mustard, and obviously brie. I'm gonna go without dipping an extra mustard first and give it a bite. All right. This works so well. I gotta add more mustard. Let me try this. If you're a mustard person, more mustard is great. I feel like I got mustard all over me. More mustard is great. If you're not a mustard person, I think that it still adds something to the sandwich and it's not too much, but I really like this. I also did think that this was gonna be a sandwich that I was like, oh yeah, I'll make it for the video, and then if I like it, it's I liked it, but I don't know how often I would make it, but I'm willing to try it because I don't like green apple that much. I've never had arugula in a sandwich, and I am here to say I would make this. And I would definitely think I would crave it too. I feel like there's a lot of complexity in these flavors, and I feel like it doesn't, I don't know, it's different than just a regular grilled cheese. It gives me panini vibes. So what I learned here is, if I'm interested in a recipe, I should definitely still try it, even if I'm not sure that I would make it again, because I think that it, you can be surprised. These are all ingredients that I like, some maybe more than others. I definitely learned that you can just take a simple grilled cheese and make something that has so much more flavor and more components to it and really elevate your meal. And I think that that effort just makes me happy, and so do these flavors. On to our next recipe. All right, our next recipe is a chickpea carbonara with shiitake bacon and crispy leeks. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I've had shiitake bacon before and I'm a big fan of it. Now, shiitake bacon is basically just crispy mushrooms that can kind of snap the way that crispy bacon can be, and they have a similar texture. By no means does it replace bacon, but that's another thing that I found interesting about Drew Barrymore's cookbook. Her diet aligns a lot with how I tend to eat or gravitate towards. For example, in this recipe, there is an optional topping of fish roe that you can add on top of the dish. but the rest of it, if I remember reading correctly, is all vegan. So I thought that was interesting that she included that, because obviously she could have just been like, this recipe's vegan, calling it a day, but she instead decided like, no, this enhances it because this is not a vegan recipe first. This is a good recipe first, a recipe that I enjoy, and I also think that this ingredient could elevate it. I, spoiler alert, did not in fact buy fish roe. I don't always like it. I don't mind it, but I decided to opt out of making it in this recipe. But I thought it was a fun little tidbit, so let's make the recipe. Oh, we're preheating an oven. Oh, news to me. I didn't realize we were doing that. It's about to get hot in here. It's a New York summer, and a New York summer plus an oven is... Okay, oven preheated. First step done. Now we need to make the leek miso sauce. We need 2 leeks. Leeks are actually a very dirty onion, which, yes, they are an onion. They're in the onion family. I think Trader Joe's actually might have some. It says they're closely related to onion. Okay, so they're closely related, like a half cousin. Their flavor is sweeter and more delicate than onions. So there is your leek knowledge. If you didn't know any, now you have some knowledge that you can leak into the world. Okay. We're gonna heat our olive oil. In go our leeks. Okay, while those cook, I'm gonna take our shiitake mushrooms and some more leeks, and I'm gonna cut these up, chop them down, you know, do the thing. And those are gonna go into our oven, which has now made my apartment appropriately hot. So I'm gonna try and do this in rapid fire time. But while my leeks are cooking, I also have a cup of water to the side, so that way I can add a little to deglaze the pan. So I'm gonna let that go ahead and cook, and I'm gonna rapid fire chop, so that way we can get our shiitake mushrooms and more leeks into the oven. Let's go. Okay, we've got our shiitake mushrooms, more of our leeks. Our other leeks are almost done deglazing and cooking down for us to make the sauce. Now we're gonna season these together to get into the oven. So we have smoked paprika, our black pepper, salt, olive oil. I think I'm gonna have to get in there with my hands. It's honestly my preferred method. There we go. Let's get this into the oven. And we've got our finished leeks. I'm gonna let them cool for like just a minute or two, and then we're gonna go behind me and we're gonna put everything into the blender and we're gonna make our sauce for our carbonara. Okay, so we've got our trusty blender, and I am very much sweating hot. I've got the oven going. It's an 85-degree day, and it's 6:30, and I'm pretty sure it's still 85 degrees. So we're gonna power on through because we've got some good food ahead of us. Not that we didn't already have good food. That grilled cheese, I'm still thinking about it, let me tell you. But let's get going on our sauce. All right, so let's attempt to get our leeks in here. I think they're gonna bring a nice depth of flavor. Okay, so now we're gonna add a tablespoon of miso paste. They said just a tablespoon, and let's go in. And now we're using an interesting ingredient, which is not garbanzo beans, but the liquid that they're in, which is called aquafaba. If you've never used aquafaba for anything, it's actually pretty common in a lot of like culinary recipes. I mean, I would say more like maybe fine dining, because it actually can work as a egg white replacer, because if you whip it up, it gets it gets stiff just like egg whites. So I had it once in like a drink as a foam on top. It's got a lot of uses. So we're gonna just take this can and make sure we get no chickpeas, but all of the liquid going in. And a little black pepper. Let's go. Here are our mushrooms. Oh my gosh. Oh, they've got to go down. Hot. I think they're done. Yeah, these look good. Our water just started boiling. Perfecto. So I'm gonna take chickpea pasta because this is what Drew Barrymore said to use. And she also said that her favorite is banza, and I would agree with that. I love banza, big banza fan over here. And we are gonna cook this. They say with banza that you should expect some foam. And we will have to rinse it afterwards just to get the starch off. I've definitely eaten it unrinsed and it's fine, but it does make a difference if you rinse your water or rinse your pasta. Only your chickpea pasta. Don't rinse regular pasta. So, oh my gosh. And now it is finally time to turn off my oven. So hopefully the heat won't rise. Probably won't get any better until I'm able to blast my AC and have the all the air in the world coming back. Or it's the fall. Is anyone else just like ready to get rid of this heat? I know a lot of the world is experiencing a lot of heat this time of year. Not all of it, but a lot of it. At least a lot of it that is in my inner circle. And I have been so hot this year, and I think standing over a pot of boiling water in an oven that was just on is definitely not making it any better. But alas, we embrace what we have been given and we make a delicious meal. So we're gonna go ahead and reserve a cup of the pasta water. Okay, I'm always like afraid I'm gonna get a lone noodle. I guess it's a long noodle. Okay, should be all right. Okay, so now we are going to turn the heat to medium low and we're adding our pasta back into the pot. So in goes the pasta. And then now we're adding our leek in miso sauce. And then it says to add a ½ cup of our pasta water. So we're just gonna use half of this. Okay, and then we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of our chives. So fun. And it says to keep adding pasta water to continue thinning the sauce. And we can take our pasta and get it on a plate and taste it. So let's go. Okay, let's try it. It looks absolutely beautiful. And I'm eating it as the sun starts to set. Let's get ourselves a nice little bite. Get some mushroom. That's good, I like that. It's really light. It's not as like fatty as a carbonara, but you know, like when you make a recipe like this, it's not gonna be a replica of a traditional carbonara with guanciale and egg and like, you know, a lot of other fatty ingredients. They use a lot of umami rich ingredients. Things are really heart healthy and I'm very, very satisfied with this. I think there's a strong depth of flavor, probably from the miso. I might have even been able to cook my leeks down a little bit more, which I didn't realize because it took a long time to kind of blend them together to get it perfectly silky smooth. And I still think it was a little chunky in the end. And I think that that's okay because the flavor was still there, but next time maybe I try cooking them down more and see if I could get them even softer. Either way, this is delicious and it feels indulgent without feeling heavy, which I think is kind of hard to do. So I would say we had 2 recipes that felt like a major win. And if you didn't know, I actually now have an Amazon storefront and I'll have that link down below, which besides putting some of my kitchen favorites, I also try to include all of the cookbooks that I use in my Cook with G's. So if you ever watch one of these videos and you're interested in purchasing one of those cookbooks, I'll have it linked down below and I'll have a link to my full Amazon shop. And if you purchase from any of those, I'll actually get a commission from it, which is one way to support my channel. But if you don't want to buy a cookbook and you just like watching these for fun, that's totally okay too, because just engaging and supporting my content is a great way to support my channel. And just you being here, I appreciate that. So if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up so that way we can keep on growing. And I will be sure to catch you next time. Before I say bye, I gotta do one thing. I need to go turn my air conditioning on. It is hot. Bye.